They've been called intense, mysterious, contradictory, hard to label, hard to hold, hard to understand. Psychology has tried. MBTI has tried. Friends, partners, even therapists have tried. But none of it captures the full picture. Because what lives beneath the surface of a Sigma INFJ is not just complexity. It's depth. And depth, by nature, resists categorization. This isn't just a personality type. It's an experience. A frequency. A mind and soul calibrated for truth, not appearances. And when you go that deep, labels begin to feel like cages. Part 1. The language of labels doesn't fit their inner world. Labels are built for clarity. They help people organize, sort, and simplify. But the Sigma INFJ doesn't exist in simplicity. Their thoughts come in layers. Their emotions carry paradox. They can see both sides of a conflict and still stand firmly with neither. They can walk away from someone they love and mean both the love and the leaving. So when someone tries to reduce them to one thing, empath, introvert, healer, idealist, it always feels off. Because even when the label is technically accurate, it never touches the how, the why, or the gravity of what they carry inside. They aren't trying to be different. They simply are. And that difference runs so deep, it dissolves most definitions. Part 2. A personality that shifts with purpose, not performance. One of the most misunderstood things about Sigma INFJs is their ability to shift. In one setting, they can be warm and inviting. In another, cold and analytical. In one conversation, poetic. In the next, surgical. To most people, that looks inconsistent. Fake. Confusing. But for them, it's strategy, not performance. They're not trying to be someone else. They're accessing different parts of themselves, depending on the purpose of the moment. Their identity is not a fixed costume. It's a toolkit. And they use the right tool for the right context, not to manipulate, but to understand, to navigate, and to protect. What label accounts for that kind of conscious adaptability? None. Because most people aren't built to choose how they show up. They just react. The Sigma INFJ responds. That's different. And far too nuanced to fit in a box. Part 3. Emotional depth that can't be outsourced to words. The emotions of a Sigma INFJ are not loud. They're not chaotic. They don't explode. They echo, through time, through memory, through layers of meaning that even they sometimes struggle to name. They feel grief in metaphor, joy in stillness, anger in silence, love in absence. Their emotional language doesn't match what the world expects. And so the world misreads them, often labeling them as cold, distant, or disinterested. But they're not disconnected. They're just fluent in a more complex emotional dialect. One that isn't easily translated into words like sad, happy, or mad. Try asking them how they feel. And watch them pause, not because they don't know, but because the answer won't fit into your question. They are fluent in energy, not just emotion. And most labels, they only speak in one dimension. Part for mind that synthesizes, not segregates. Most people compartmentalize. Job here. Emotions there. Beliefs in a separate box. But a Sigma INFJ synthesizes. Everything touches everything else. Their thoughts don't line up in bullet points. They bloom in mosaics. They follow threads of meaning through past, present, and future, all in one breath. This is why they often struggle to explain themselves in real time. Because by the time they've formed a sentence, their mind has already moved 10 layers deeper. They don't think like others. They connect, merge, integrate. And because of that, you can't isolate one part of them and expect to understand the whole. Their logic is fused with emotion. Their intuition is fused with pattern. Their values are fused with vision. You cannot separate the parts of them. Because they are woven, not stacked. And what label exists for a psyche built like that? Part 5 of a relationship with solitude that's not about avoidance. Introvert is the usual go-to. And yes, they are introverts. But not for the usual reasons. They don't avoid people because they're shy. They retreat because the world is often too loud, too shallow, too noisy with agendas they can't align with. Solitude, for them, isn't a rest stop. It's a lifestyle. A place where their thoughts can breathe. Where their values can realign. Where they remember who they are outside the pull of other people's energy. And because they find clarity in silence. They often confuse those who only feel alive in connection. But here's the paradox. Sigma INFJs can form deep, transformative connections. They just don't need many. And they're never addicted to them. So what do you call someone who thrives in solitude, but still craves depth in connection? Not avoidant. Not dependent. Just free. A label could never capture that. Part 6. Truth matters more than comfort. Many people live to be liked. To be accepted. To be safe. But Sigma INFJs live to be true. They don't reshape themselves to match the crowd. They don't say things just to keep the peace. They don't water down their insight to spare someone's ego. This doesn't mean they are cruel. It means they refuse to lie to themselves or others just to fit in. They'll stay quiet rather than speak falsely. They'll walk away rather than betray their own integrity. And they'll choose discomfort if it means clarity. That kind of inner loyalty. It's rare. And it can't be categorized as simple honesty or bluntness. It's deeper. It's devotion to what's real, even if it costs them closeness, approval, or comfort. And that's not something you find on a personality chart. Part 7. Their inner world is a sanctuary, not a secret. Sigma INFJs aren't secretive because they have something to hide. They're private because their inner world is sacred. And not everyone deserves access to it. Their thoughts are nuanced. Their emotions are refined. Their insights are earned through solitude, experience, heartbreak, observation. You don't get all of them. You get the parts that resonate with you. And if nothing resonates, they give you nothing. Not out of arrogance, but because they know their depth is not for everyone. And they no longer apologize for it. Part 8. They've outgrown most definitions, even the ones that once fit. There was a time when they needed labels. To feel seen, or to understand why they couldn't relate to the noise around them. MBTI. Enneagram. Attachment styles. Empath checklists. They studied them all. And in the beginning, it helped. But as they evolved, as they outgrew patterns, healed wounds, sharpened their clarity, they started to realize something. No label could hold all of who they were becoming. Because they weren't just INFJs. Weren't just Sigmas. Weren't just intuitive or logical or independent. They were everything all at once, and becoming more all the time. At some point, the labels stopped being mirrors and started becoming enclosures. And so, like everything else they'd outgrown, they let them go. Conclusion: some souls aren't meant to be defined, only recognized. If you've ever felt that no label fully captures you, that every definition brushes against your truth but never touches the core of it, you're not lost. You're rare. You weren't made to fit. You were made to stand out. And while the world keeps asking you to define yourself, you quietly continue to live yourself. Because your life is not a role. It's a message. And those who understand won't ask you to explain it. They'll simply feel it. You are too deep to label. And that is your power.